Hello, and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. We chat all things about healing chronic illness and anxiety. If you are someone who's currently struggling and you are looking to take back your health and healing by reconnecting with your intuition and using the infrastructure inside of yourself to heal, then make sure you subscribe because I am dropping free trainings as often as I possibly can to help you get your life back and to make it a lot easier and more enjoyable than it has previously been. Today, I'm going to be touching on one of my favorite topics, which is really talking about the different levels of the mind and specifically talking about the 3 layers that you must rewire if you are looking to heal chronic illness. So I think, depending on where you kind of exist in the social media world when it comes to the nervous system, you might have heard about the mind-body connection and the role it plays in your capacity for healing chronic illness. But did you know that the mind can be broken up into 3 parts, and each of these parts need to be addressed if you are looking to regulate your nervous system to heal chronic illness? So first, I want to start by clearing a couple things up for you because I do feel like there are a lot of people on social media talking about like the unconscious or the conscious, but we're not really super aware or clear on what that means. So I want to break down what exactly that means for you so that it's black and white. There's no ambiguity. You understand exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so number 1, we have the conscious mind. The conscious mind is 5% of your mind. Most people are walking around using their conscious mind and only their conscious mind to try to heal. This is a part of your mind that is very logical, very problem solving. It's really analytical, short-term memory. So this is kind of when you are doing research, reading self-help books, you're on Reddit and you're consulting practitioners and you have the spreadsheets, all of that. This is that part of your mind. This is the evolved human part of the mind. Yes, this allows us to plan for the future. Unfortunately, it also allows us to have anxiety. So, it's a blessing, but we need to understand what it does and how to use it to our advantage if we are to heal. So also understanding that the conscious mind is only 5% of your mind. So if you are just using the conscious mind to heal, you already know the math. You're literally only using 5% of your actual thinking faculties to try and heal. So it's no wonder that it's not working, right? So this is why you need to understand what are these other levels and how can you use them to your advantage. Number 2, right between your conscious and your unconscious is your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind really is, in my opinion, the most powerful and important part. Your subconscious mind, right below your conscious awareness, is 95%. So bear with me here, the math will math. So this is really, it's storing absolutely everything that's ever happened to you. Every memory, every event, your identity, your perceptions, your habits, your values, your trauma, etc. It really is kind of like the compilation of everything that's ever happened to you, all living right below what you can consciously access. And this is why for so many people, it is so difficult for them to change their habits or change their perceptions of things because they're trying to change something that lives in the subconscious mind on a conscious level. So they're literally trying to change, let's say they have this bad habit of scrolling on their phone in the morning or checking their email, or they have a habit of reaching for a chocolate bar when they're watching Netflix or what have you, and they're trying to break the habit. And they're reading Atomic Habits by James Clear. They have spreadsheets. They're trying to hack. Why is it that I'm still doing this thing? Why is it so hard? Why are all these smart people throughout time trying to hack things like breaking or making a habit? Why is it so confusing? Why is there this idea of self-sabotage? The reason why this happens is because your habits, they live on a subconscious level. So if you're trying to use this, the conscious, to change this, there's a disconnect and it's not going to work. So we'll talk about why this is important and how you can easily access your subconscious mind and change things really easily. But I want you to understand what the unconscious is. So the unconscious lives right below the subconscious. And the unconscious, in the way that I teach it, is the body. So the nervous system, that's the unconscious mind. So if you think about the autonomic nervous system, it's automatic. Besides the breath, you can't control anything with your conscious awareness. It just responds automatically and primitively to your senses, to the environment, right? Internally and externally. And so for this reason, it's unconscious, it's automatic, it's primitive and programmed. However, we can reprogram it. So then when you're looking at it now, you have the conscious, which is the 5%, you have the subconscious, which is the 95%, and you have the unconscious, which is the body. These are the three parts of the mind that you have to rewire if you want to heal. So unconscious means rewiring your nervous system. Subconscious means rewiring things like limiting beliefs and identity and habits, etc., that allow your nervous system to stay regulated. Now, your subconscious mind is the communication center to the nervous system. So if you are out here trying to heal your nervous system and you are literally doing yoga, grounding, deep breathing, whatever, these are great things. Like, they are going to be helpful. But at the end of the day, if you are not accessing your subconscious mind, it's not going to be sustainable, and you're going to feel like you're hitting your head against a wall. You're going to be like, I've been trying all these things to regulate, and I have this amazing schedule, and I have this Zen life, and I am the wellness girly to the max, but it's not working for me. Again, because there's a disconnect between your conscious mind and your unconscious, aka your nervous system. Without using your subconscious, you can't communicate directly to the nervous system. And so, for example, if you're having a panic attack, right, this is the unconscious mind sending you into fight or flight. If you're having a panic attack and you try to tell your panic attack consciously not to freak out, it isn't going to listen to you. No one ever was able to come out of a panic attack by saying, just chill. Or if you are reaching for that bar of chocolate at the end of the day, even though you know it's not, supportive for you in your healing journey right now, even though you know consciously that's the case, there's a part of you that's still going to increase that dopamine and cause you to reach for it. And you don't understand why there's this disconnect. Again, because your conscious mind does not communicate directly to the nervous system. It can, in certain instances, and we'll talk about this, help and support that subconscious communication. But all of that conscious communication is built on the subconscious mind. So if you want to regulate your nervous system and heal, because this is at the crux of your capacity to heal chronic illness and anxiety, you need to hack your subconscious mind. What's interesting about the subconscious mind is when you specifically rewire that part of your mind, which is the direct line to the nervous system, you see instant shifts. I'm talking about, like, I have had students who have been in chronic pain for 30 years literally have spontaneous healing. I have had students go from wheelchairs to walking. I've had students with Hashimoto's and Graves' antibodies going away in a matter of months. I've had so many experiences, not just within myself and my healing and my conditions, but of my students who were able to regulate rapidly and in a way that was sustainable. So they weren't married to this routine of all of this yoga and breathing. And again, those things are great things to do. Think of those things as like your supplements. You know that your omega and your beef liver and your vitamin D and whatever is good, but it's a supplement to a healthy and varied diet and lifestyle, right? And so you would never think, oh, this vitamin D is going to be the one thing that heals me, right? And so it's the same thing with yoga or breath work or affirmations. They're great and they supplement the real root cause work, which is the subconscious rewiring. So what do I mean when I say you have to rewire these three parts of your mind in order to heal? Well, on the most simple black and white level, you have to rewire your nervous system. If it is in fight or flight or shutdown, which is going to be one of the states you're in if you're chronically ill, you need to get it out of that chronic state back into rest and repair, or rest and digest. This is the only place where your body can heal. So if you are in a different state of survival, your body's going to start to break down. Don't really care, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but genuinely what your condition is, because it's not relevant to this work. If you have a chronic condition or you have anxiety, of course, your nervous system is in a dysregulated state. So what does a regulated state mean? It means a wave. So you're not going to always be in rest and digest, but you are going to kind of oscillate between the two states, fight or flight, rest and digest, and so on and so forth. If you are stuck in fight or flight, then you're not coming back down. Your body literally cannot heal. It cannot heal. You're doing yoga, you're doing breath work, you're taking supplements, you're pissed off, it's not working. That's step number one to understand. You have to get into a place where your body can physically heal. Number two is the subconscious mind. If you are to regulate your nervous system, you need to communicate to the nervous system that it is safe to heal. So what does that mean? You need to believe that healing is possible. You need to get rid of the identity that I am chronically ill. If you believe I am chronically ill, the nervous system will always stay in fight or flight, because that is a very dangerous, as far as it's concerned, place to be. So the only thing the nervous system understands is survival or safety. So if your belief is aligned with survival, it will stay and it will instantly shift and then stay into that state of survival. And yes, this is not just based on your physical, like external environment, it's also your internal environment. So if your internal environment is, I am chronically ill, this is just my life, I am anxious, I am broken, I'm living in a body that's fighting itself, all of these like really survival like connotations, if you will, your nervous system is going to stay stuck. And wherever you have your identity and beliefs, your habits and thoughts will flow. So if you are subconsciously, not consciously, living in this identity and living with these beliefs, your habits are going to be hard to break. The thought patterns are going to be hard to break. The anxiety spirals and the focus on your symptoms are going to be hard to break, right? Your thoughts are going to take over and they're going to be hard. You're going to say things like, I really find it hard to control my thoughts. They just go there and I don't know why. And I try pattern interruption and I try cognitive behavioral therapy and yada, yada. I try quieting the mind and it doesn't work. So this is why it's not working. But I say it because it's very easy to fix, right? So don't worry, we can absolutely fix it. But understand the levels here of the mind that need restructuring. So at the root level, if you want to change your thoughts and your habits, don't work on those, work on your identity and beliefs, because your thoughts and habits flow from that. So it's actually really easy because you can tackle it at a higher level so you don't have to actually focus on the lower levels of the mind. Then you have the conscious mind. So the over-intellectualizing, the type A, the overextending, the all or nothing thinking, the perfectionism, this kind of conscious thought patterns are sabotaging all the way down to the unconscious mind. Because when we are living in what these are called trauma responses, which are rooted in the subconscious mind, we are constantly hypervigilant, meaning we are staying in a state of fight or flight from a nervous system standpoint. So, we can work on the conscious level for sure, but everything from the subconscious mind will flow. So what I mean is if you address your identity and you address your beliefs, those trauma responses will just sort of go away. You won't be living in a state of perfectionism or all or nothing thinking or anything like that. So it really is all about targeting deeper. So you might be asking me, Faith, well, you've just taken away my tools. You've taken away my yoga. You've taken away my breath work. Like what is it I'm supposed to do to rewire? So here's what I would recommend. There's so many different ways that we can rewire the subconscious mind. And I could honestly, I have students that I'm teaching them this for literally years, right? So I'm going to give you the most efficient, effective ways to do this. So number one is identity rehearsal. So your subconscious mind responds to your identity. It doesn't respond to logic. It responds to identity. This is called future self-programming. It is one of my favorite ways to rewire the subconscious mind because we're working in the most efficient manner possible. So what you're going to do is you're going to sit down and you're going to imagine yourself 3 months from now, okay? And I want you to write down every detail about who this person is with I am. So I want you to get crystal clear on what you want because clarity is power when it comes to rewiring the subconscious mind. So I am feeling good when I wake up in the morning. I am clear-headed. I am grateful. Whatever it is that you want to be I am energized. I am nourished with my breakfast, et cetera, et cetera. So I want you to write this down and I want you to read it and visualize it every single day. This is actually going to help you change the way you see yourself because your subconscious doesn't understand time. Only your conscious mind does. So if you are saying, I am, your subconscious literally thinks it's happening now. And there is no difference between living it in real life or imagining it when it comes to subconscious and unconscious. So the more that you visualize this and rehearse this, the more you actually physically change your brain and start programming yourself to act as that person. This is literally going to change your habits in such a short amount of time. You will then just start becoming that person. You're shortening the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. Both are versions of you, but the more clear you get on who you want to be, the faster you become her. Okay, so that is step number one. Step number two is repetition in mundane moments. So what does that mean? Subconscious ultimately learns very well with repetition, right? The more you do something, the faster it becomes a habit. So you really need to focus on doing this during the mundane moments because this is when the subconscious is listening. When you're in a high stress situation and you were trying to affirm like, I am safe, but you're freaking out, unfortunately, the door to the subconscious mind is completely closed. So I want you to pick 3 times in your day when you're doing mundane things like washing the dishes, brushing your teeth, taking a shower, whatever. This is where you are going to repeat your affirmations, whether it be from your future self programming or affirmations you're specifically writing for yourself at this time. You can change them at any point, but be conscious about doing it in the mundane. Do not wait till you're in the moment to do them because the door to your subconscious mind is completely closed. When you are in the moment of anxiety and panic, your conscious mind is like, psh, right? It is like hyper aware of trying to problem solve, and ultimately your brainwaves are really fast. And in order to reprogram the subconscious, your brainwaves have to be very slow. So when you're about to fall asleep, when you wake up, or when you're just doing something completely chill and mindless. So using slow brainwave time to do those affirmations at least 3 times a day, every single time. Don't worry about being so hyper focused on what you're doing. Just do it. Your conscious mind doesn't need to be there. Literally, you can just be feeling the toothbrush against your teeth, but be listening to it on headphones or just be reading it on your mirror or be saying it, whatever works for you. I recommend the headphones and just let it go into your mind. Okay. So that is step number 2. I hope that these are really tangible and easy for you because they are going to make a difference. Number 3 is pairing safety with triggers. So this is neural reassociation. So thoughts are essentially like inception point, pathway, response. So let's say you have triggers like physical or mental, whether it's a smell or a lot of people or a loud noise or sitting in the car or working out, whatever the trigger is right now, that's associated with a negative sensation physically and emotionally, right? So what you're going to start doing is pairing that with something positive, which feels very manual at first and weird. But if you do this consistently for 30 days, you are literally going to change the physical structure of your brain to start associating those triggers with safety. And if you remember back to what I was telling you, safety means healing, rest, and repair. So you can see how this is below conscious awareness because consciously it feels a bit like, what am I actually doing here? But we're bypassing that. We're going straight to the root cause of the problem. So here's what I mean. Let's say you start having a rapid heart rate, which typically would instigate all these thoughts of anxiety, right? I want you to then ground your feet or put your hand over your heart and do some really slow breathing where you inhale for 3 and out for 6. So this is how you are literally going to control your autonomic nervous system. Or I want you to do some butterfly tapping where you cross your hands like this and you tap. Or I want you to give yourself a hug and sway, right? So you're pairing your actual triggers with safety cues, which you know the body from like a sensory standpoint is going to register as safe. At first, it might not automatically get you out of that trigger, but over time, you do this consistently for 30 days. I literally promise you, this is going to change your brain on a subconscious level. So we learned a lot today. I not only gave you some actual tools to rewire your subconscious mind, but I really wanted to break down the different levels of the mind so that you could truly understand what you're working with and why it's important, because that is so important to increase dopamine, which is what's going to motivate you to do this work. I really hope that this was helpful for you, and I want to hear in the comments what you want to learn more about, what you want me to make a video about, how else you want to be supported. So let me know. I can't wait to connect. Thank you so much for being here today.